We're still looking at matter classification and be able to work with these particle diagrams. So our job is to look at each of these particle diagrams and determine whether it represents a mixture, an element, or a compound. Now, in an element or compound, they are specific examples of a substance. And if it's a substance, you have only one type. Whereas a mixture, there's more than one type. So first off, what I need to figure out is, in this picture, is it a substance or a mixture? And then if it's a substance, is it better classified as an element or a compound? So here's how I like to go about it. I circle one particle, so that's my particle. And I compare this particle to one that's next to it. And based on it, I see a big gray circle, small black one. This one has a big gray one, small black one. So they represent the same type. Then I compare the one I circled to the next particle, and I see the same composition and structure, big gray linked to a small black one. So they are the same. And then I compare it to the last one, and I notice big gray, small black, so they are also the same. So because all four particles are the same type, I'm going to classify it as a substance. Now what I need to do is to determine this substance, is it an element or is it a compound? So I take a look at the atoms that are present in this particle. Big gray one, small black one. So the one particle is made up of different atoms. And because it's made up of different atoms in a 1-to-1 ratio, the best thing to classify this is as a compound. So I'm going to work through the next example the same way. First, I'm going to start off, is it a substance or a mixture? And if I say it's a substance, then which one, element or compound? So take a look. Here we go. Here is my first particle that I circled. And when I compare it to this one, it is the same type. When I compare it to this guy, they are definitely different. So once when I notice that I have at least two different types of particles, I don't have to work too hard. I realize this is some sort of mixture, and my classification job is done. Moving on to the next example, same thing. I'm going to first determine if it's a substance or mixture, and if it's a substance, is it an element or compound? So I choose my first particle. Okay, so here's my first particle. And look, a big gray circle, small black, and I compare it to this guy right here. Definitely different. So I don't need to go any further because I know there's at least two different types of particles here. So this best represents a mixture. See if I can move this up just a bit. Okay, so looking at the we're going to work through the exact same process. So first determine if it's a substance or mixture, and if we say, hey, it's some sort of substance, is it better classified as an element or compound? So I choose my first particle. I'm going to circle this one here, and I compare it to this guy here. Both have a big empty circle in the center. I see two small black circles attached to it, two small black, and then one big gray. So they are the same composition and structure. And then I compare the one I circled to the other particle. Once again, big empty circle in the center, two small black circles, and then one big gray. So they are also the same type. So I realize that this is a substance. Now to determine if it's a element or compound, I need to take a look and compare all of the atoms in the structure. And when I look at them, there are at least 3 different types. So they are different atoms in the structure. So that tells me that this is a compound. Continuing on, okay, looking at the next we do. First, is it a substance or a mixture? And if it's a substance, is it better classified as an element or a compound? So I circle my first structure and I compare it to this one. And they're both made up of these big gray circles. So they are the same. And then I compare it to the next one, 2 big gray circles and what I circled, and the one I'm pointing to, same thing. So they are the same. So now I say, okay, this is a substance. Now, is it an element or a compound? So when I take a look at these atoms, so this atom and this atom, so the 2 atoms within that particle, they are the same type of atom. So if my particle is made up of the same type of atoms, then that is best classified as an element. So my last example here, is it a substance or mixture? And if it's a substance, is it an element or compound? So I choose one particle, which is just that guy there, and I compare it to the next one. They are the same type. And then I compare it to the next one. They are the same type. I compare it to this one, same type, and I compare it here, and they are the same type. So this is definitely a substance because every particle is identical to all the others within the sample. Now to determine whether it's an element or a compound, I have to look at what's in the particle. In this one particle, it's made up of a single atom, so it's only itself, so it's the same. So this would be classified as an element. Your job is to complete the you do, the 3 you do's down below, same method that I showed in the I do and we do, and then also answer the 4 multiple choice questions at the bottom of the page. Check your multiple choice answers with the teacher.